Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Power Half Hour Unstoppable Business Owner. And I'm your host, Dorothy Odell, for this evening. I have the distinct pleasure of bringing to the screen Sherrika Sanders. Welcome to the show, Sherrika. How are you?
Hi, I am doing quite well. How are you?
I am doing quite well. It's been. We were discussing before the show that January felt like a year instead of a month, and here we are going into the second season of life in 2024.
Yes, I'm
Oh,
never
but
ready. I'm never ready, but time goes so fast and I don't know where it goes. Like today is Monday still. It should be, right? I don't know where the time goes.
yeah, well,
Happy to
what
be
can we
here.
do? Yeah, thanks for being here. Yes. So, for some people who have no idea who you are, share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yes, absolutely. So I am in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm a Georgia peach. That's what they call us who are native to Georgia. I
Love
felt the
it.
need to explain that because I've said it before and people are like, what? And
I
but
get it.
uh, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia, with my husband and my three kids. And I started a company recently, a little bit over a year and a half ago, called Transform the GAAP, which is GAAP. And for those not familiar, GAAP is an accounting term, which means generally accepted accounting principles. And my company name stems from my 15 plus years as a corporate accountant for private equity and privately held companies. And while that's like, who cares? During that time, what I did that I really loved is working with my team, and I led my team through several transitions, mergers, acquisitions, divestitures, IPOs, bankruptcy, all of the above, reverse mergers. But what I really love was working with my team, helping them to grow, helping them to, whether it was shorten the close cycle, whether it was, hey, I really want to, go to another level within the accounting department, helping them to understand how to speak up for themselves, use their voice. I was their manager, but I wanted them to feel empowered to step up. If they did a project, then it was their credit. It wasn't mine or ours. You did the work, you get the credit. And so because I really, really loved that, but I was tired of living my life by the monthly close schedule, upcoming audit. Oh, we're having another corporate transition. I decided to do what I love, but on my own terms. And so I'm doing that now, helping other and specifically women in accounting to speak up for themselves, those who are overlooked, underpaid, overworked, underrepresented, and helping them to speak up confidently for themselves, professionally advocate for themselves, and secure their next promotion. I'm looking to show the profession they love how to love them back. And so, and I'm loving it.
I love that. As somebody who's been in the bookkeeping accounting space for 20 some odd years, I find it refreshing that you're taking a new twist to the industry because um, I'm not your typical bean counter though, really, because I don't, I'm like outgoing and usually the typical person that does that is very much introverted, very much just wants to fax figures and things like that. And so I love that you're
Yes.
taking a twist to it and enhancing that industry because it does need enhancing. For sure. So I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what people have told me. I'm sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, no. Sorry, there's a little bit of a lag here. I'm trying to not pay much attention to it, but yeah, no, I love that. And so, um, taking those. So explain to us. You have so when you what? How do you take your clients through your program then?
Yes. So I have two programs, whether you get one-on-one as well as group coaching, which is limited to 5 people because I still want us to have a more of an intimate feeling. But there's a laundry list of things that we go through. And even before starting the program, there are specific questions that I ask on areas of need and interest. And, what do you see yourself? What are you trying to pursue? Just to make sure, one, that we're a great fit, and also just to understand how to better personalize, everyone's experience, because we can still do that even in the group coaching program. But some of the basics that we uncover in the program is something called the balance wheel of life. And that's where we take all the different things that we are going through and that are important to us. So, probably work is one, family may be one, health could be one, money could be one, whatever it is in your wheel of life. And then we say, okay, how much time, how much of our energy are we dedicating to that? And how much should we be dedicating to it? And when we kind of put that in front of us, and it's an exercise that we complete and look at those things, it's like, ugh, I really would love to spend a little bit more time here, less time here. So, for example, we tend to see where the work box is one that's really full, and the family box may be one that's not really. And we're like, okay, so what can we do to help bring more space into this one and put a little bit less there? Not necessarily giving less of yourself, but how to best make yourself more efficient. Is it you're working hard and not smart? And if so, let's dive into that and what that means. Is it that you don't really understand what you're doing? Because part of the program is also, if there's some basic accounting skills that they need help with, then that's what's included as well, like Excel skills or balance recs. So we talk about the balance wheel of life. We understand facts versus feelings. Um, the way that they said something and the way that they intended it may not have been the way that you took it, because you were understanding with your feelings and not with the facts. Understanding how to interpret on another level what people say. So you can't say things like, oh, they're late. They're always late. Are they always late? Or just compared to what you would expect, or what? So really helping to understand, because it's when you get down to the nitty gritty, so to speak, and understanding, looking at the why behind what people are doing, you stop being so defensive in a lot of areas, and you start to see other people as people. Like, managers are people too, and they're ignoring me. They're not really giving me a lot of attention. But then after we go through a couple of exercises and different things, we realize, oh, well, they're bombarded. It's not that they're not giving you attention, but they just have a lot on their plate. How about offering to help out a little bit? Now you get additional exposure for your position, and now you're also in their graces. So when it comes time for the promotion, now you can have some things that you can put, that these are some of the things that I've accomplished over this time. We talked about how to ask for a raise, or set up a plan with the manager. If you've already asked them and told no, okay, well, this is how you approach it, and this is how you ask for that meeting, and set up a game plan so that you can go to that next level. So we cover a breadth of things. Professionally advocating for yourself, you don't have to lose your respect just to keep your job. You can always still speak up for yourself and do it professionally, and still leave with your respect at the end of that conversation. So just honestly, it's taking from my experiences when I was in corporate, and all the things that I went through, all the different uncomfortable situations, all of the different scenarios that I may have been put in. Um, One of the companies that I worked with, the bulk of the people on my team were friends with the CFO, and that's why they were brought in. It's not like, oh, they started and then they became friends. No, he was their friend, and so he found a space for them. And so when you see things like that, and you know that you work really hard to get to where you are, and you see other people and they're like, hey, we have a new person starting, and he wasn't shy about it. This is a good friend of mine, and we've known each other forever. You're gonna love him, blah 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 blah. And it's like, what are we doing? But learning how to use your voice in scenarios like that, how to speak up for yourself. So
Right. That's hugely
that's the
important, especially for women.
yes, yes, and
You know,
yes.
we're afraid. Well, some of us are afraid to, even ask for that talk. And then, then we get bitter, and then, well, we don't move forward in life because, we don't take that step. But by being confidently and boldly and knowing your worth and stepping into these meetings is what the world needs. Because if you don't know your worth, somebody's going to tell you. Oh,
And it's funny. So I have on a shirt today that says "Know your worth, then add tax," and I
love it.
and you're absolutely right. And people don't understand. I tell people all the time. I used to go into the meetings, and I would be a lot, often the only female in the room, and even more so the only black person in the room, honestly. And I would sit there and I'm like, how do I show that I'm supposed to be here? And then finally it clicked, and it's like, you're already here. You don't have to show what you've already done. Your work has spoken for you. You're already in the room, so take advantage of being in the room. Use your voice. Use your voice. I say use your words. I say that to people, like, use your words. Let's
Mhm.
let's communicate things and be able to do that. And what happens is sometimes we think if we just sit quietly and kind of fade to the black, no one will notice, to the back, no one will notice, and we're safe, so to speak. But what it really does is you tend to lose respect from others,
Mhm.
because then they see your quietness as weakness or meekness. And they
Mhm.
feel like when you do speak, they can, so no, speak up for yourself and don't be afraid of, oh, that's a silly question. One of the things I would say is like, sorry, I just need clarity on X. Or please, explain this to me again. Or I would say, this is what I understand about what we're talking about. Am I on the right track? So there are several ways that you can do it. Still speak up for yourself without sounding, silly. Because what you don't want to happen is you leave the meeting, you think you know what you're supposed to do, and then you get back to your desk or your office, and then you're sitting there like, oh man, what was it again? And now you have to go back. You have to tuck your tail and go back and ask. So, you know, use your voice, speak up. And even if it's shaking, say the words.
Exactly. I love that. I just want to take a quick break here for our sponsor of today's show, Cast Magic. You can produce 10 times more content using just one AL tool. All you need to do is upload any YouTube video, podcast, or random voice notes into Cast Magic, and you will complete a set of AL written content in a few minutes that sounds like you because it leverages your content and your voice. If you don't have content, go to your favorite content creator and use Cast Magic's Magic Chat feature to get new original content or ideas on what to create next. And there is a link here for you to use to go check out Cast Magic. It's great for not only podcasters, but coaches as well, because it takes your content from your coaching program and it actually creates different worksheets for your clients as well. So it's a great tool to have. Go check it out, get your free trial, use that link and check it out. So getting back to Sherrika here, I absolutely love what you said. It's we need to stick up for ourselves, and by not, it's you know allowing the people to treat you the way that you are, and I totally firsthand get that. Especially coming from the finance industry, and especially you know as somebody who didn't know their worth, as somebody who allowed people to, walk all over them or enable them in certain situations. So I'm glad there's somebody out there like you that are saying, wait a minute, we've had enough. It's not like we're women here we roar, but it's the fact that we can do it in a professional way and still get our point across. Um,
Yes.
and confidence is key. If you walk into a room and you're slumped and you're like, oh, I'm never going to get this anyways, I don't even know why I bother, of
Yeah.
course the outcome's going to be different.
Yeah.
So
And when I used to have someone on my team. She was a really hard worker, but she was very quiet. Um, I'm not gonna really even say she was an introvert because she would talk to us, but when it came to people outside of our group, like, wouldn't say anything. And the crazy thing is, people adapted to that, but in the wrong way. So if she needed to go talk to someone from another department about something, she would say, "Oh, who's gonna come with me?" Or they would say, "Hey, I'll come with you." So you can go ask them the question. And I'm like, wait, she's all the way grown, like married, kids. We're not holding hands and babysitting. Like, if she needs support because she's not getting something, then that's when we, help. But we're not going to stand there like a bodyguard while she asks questions to other individuals. Like, they're not going to fight her. They're not going to yell. Like, it's just a simple. And so it took some, one-on-one time with her to help her to understand that. But she finally got to the point. She didn't like it at first, but she finally got to the point where, oh, let me go ask this person about, whatever it was. And one of those things, one of the reasons we had to do that is because I felt like she was underpaid. And I talked to our CFO about her getting an increase, and he's like, I don't see her. And him saying those few words meant so many different things. And I'm like, I can't complain because I understand exactly what he's saying. Like, you fade all the way in the back, you're really quiet, you don't speak up for yourself, none of those things. And so she and I sat down that same week and we're like, okay, we're going to put a game plan together so that he does see you. He can't help but to see you. So when projects come up, I'm going to give them to you. And when there are questions, I'm going to direct them to you. One, so you get the credit for it, and so they know that who's working on it, and they can't help but also acknowledge your presence. And so we did that, different projects, and she was the point of contact for other things that we did within our team, until it got to the point where, all right, it's time for her increase. And this is where I think she should be. And this is what I'm proposing. Because then you do your part. I have no problem doing my part on your behalf. And now I can do my part on your behalf. And she was able to get her increase. And so it's like, but and people do it because they're like, oh, she's young, it's a late. No, no. And to your point, we are women hear us roar. Like, what?
Yep, I have a saying. They whispered to her, "You can't withstand the storm," and she replied back, "I am the storm." I have that sign on my office wall here, so I totally get you. I totally,
I
totally,
love it.
totally get that. Um, and so, like, one of the questions I asked, what have you overcome to get to where you're at in business today? But like, you lived that journey of how you're helping people. Is there anything else that you would say that you've overcome to get to where you're at in business today?
Yes. So I would definitely say, starting this journey, well, first of all, if you had asked me 2 to 3 years ago about what my entrepreneurship journey would look like, I would have said it doesn't look like anything, because I would never leave corporate America. Like, I love the security of having a job. I love my bonuses, my salary, all the different things. Why would I ever leave corporate America? Like, who does that? And then, just through honestly a series of events, I felt like of personal things happening in my life where I needed to take a step back from corporate. And but I couldn't. It's like they were still there, they would still call, and I'm like, we've established like I'm not available, but that's not being respected. And I'm like, I don't think this is really the place for me anymore. And so I've heard that entrepreneurship was tough, and it's a lot of work. But I'm like, well, if the amount of work that I do for others, I can definitely do for myself. And so it's definitely been, I would say, it's definitely been a journey. And I think one of the biggest things that I had to overcome was, like I said in the beginning, I left corporate because I was tired of being bound by their schedule of how to do things. And so when I started my business, I'm like, if I want to be successful, I have to work all the hours. I have to sit here at the computer. I have to dedicate. And it's like, wait a minute, that's why you left corporate, because you wanted to have time to spend with your family and, do other things. And so one of the biggest things that I had to overcome was my own mindset, and saying, okay, take a step back and understand why you're doing this. And if you respond to that email at midnight, who really is going to read it right now? Versus if you just waited and did it in the morning. So It was little things like that that I had to, and start giving myself boundaries, setting an alarm on my phone to say, okay, when that alarm goes off, you got to get up. What if you haven't finished whatever you work on? It can wait until tomorrow, but you have to get up. And so I was definitely one of my biggest hurdles. And I have something on my wall that says, "Give it to God and go to sleep." And so that's one that I definitely had to overcome. And I would say one other thing that was a big one for me is marketing, understanding what marketing myself meant. Um, because I'm like, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to sound salesy, but it was where you have a business and while you want to help people, you also want to make sure that you can continue to provide for your family. And
Mhm.
so, in doing that and learning that I could really just be myself and build a relationship, and I didn't have to be like, hey, buy from me, I'm here, just present Sherrika. And presenting Sherrika was enough. So that was definitely one, overcoming the myths and different things I heard about how sales are supposed to go, and really just staying true to me.
I love that. Can you go? You had listed 5 tips for our listeners. So, what 5 tips do you have for our business owners out there today?
Yes. And so I hope you guys are ready. Number one,
Get a pen and
make
paper,
a plan.
people. This is important.
Yes. Yes. This is breaking news. Um, Number one is you have to have a plan. So you can't decide, you know what, I want to go into entrepreneurship. I think it's time for me to make that move. End of year, I'm gone. Fine if that's your time frame, but have you put money in savings? Because while you may have a great business idea, and you can even leave and start your business with clients. I did. I had clients when I started my business, but you never know how things will go. And so you want to make sure that you've made a plan, at least have a couple of months savings to the side, where you never know what could happen, and where you still have that reserve where you can tap into it, and still have a thriving business. So that's the first one. Make sure that you establish a plan. And when you establish that plan, you start with the end in mind. So you start with, okay, where do I want this to go? Is this something I want to develop, just a small something for me? Am I trying to build a legacy for my family? Is this something I want to build and then sell? Because that determines how you start. So I kind of segued into the second one, which is start with the end in mind. But start with the end in mind, and think about those things, because while it may seem really simple, it'll help you structure your business from day one. And when you get set up with different plans and systems and all of those things, you don't want to lowball your business and then it picks up and you're like, crap, I can't keep up. And I'm losing business now because I wasn't prepared to handle it. So the first one is making your plan. The second one, starting with the end in mind. The third one, which is very important, get some help. You cannot do it all. Please don't try to do it all. And whether that help is a virtual assistant, whether that help is, I don't know, maybe you have a cousin or a sibling that doesn't mind giving you a few hours each week. Maybe you have a child that you can blackmail a little bit, whatever the case may be.
Right. Love it.
But get some, yes, try to get some help, because you're trying to, in starting a business, it's just you. And so you're trying to market the business, but you're also working on growing the business. But then you also are servicing your clients. And there are all of these different pieces to the puzzle, and it's just you. And so do not be afraid to ask for help. Please ask for help, because otherwise you will find that the same reasons that you left corporate, you're now bringing them over into your own business. And then the next thing you know, you're like, oh crap, I should have just gone, stayed in corporate. Well, no, you just need to get some structure and some organization, and get some people around you that can support you and that can help you with your goal and what you're trying to work towards. So, get some help. The fourth, do your own research. And I'm going to use my example of what I was told about sales and marketing. You have some people who say, oh, you need to sell, 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 push, push, push. And you have others who will say, you need to post on social media 12 times a day, 50 times a week. Make sure you're staying on social media so that they see your presence. And you have others who say, I didn't do any of that and my business is thriving. Every Depending on what your business is, different things work for different people. So do your research. One of the things I did when I first started on my business, I went to LinkedIn. I put in search like keywords for people who were doing something similar. And I would send them a connection request to say, hey, I just want to pick your brain and see like how you started. And I thought people would tell me to kick rocks, but they didn't. They were very helpful and willing to share information and different resources that I could try, and different ones that I could go to. And even with that, look for like systems and apps and things that are free. Everybody, there's so many different resources you can use that are free or have a free trial. Go with those first so you have an idea if it's really going to work for you before you spend your money on it. So that was like a 4B with the resources one. But definitely do your research and then look for those things that are free if you can to help you with that. And then lastly, uh, and I have to because I wrote a lot of words. Sorry. So I'm going to read this one. If your purpose is your passion, you may have a long road ahead, but you will reap the rewards. If making money is your passion, your business will struggle.
Mhm.
And basically, what that means is it's about the relationship. People want to know that you really care about them. If they're investing in you and spending their money with you, they want to know that you care about their success or, failure, or whether or not your product will really work for them. But if you're just about pushing the product, pushing the service, and not really about the people, you may thrive for a moment, but it will not last. But if you make your passion your purpose, you will succeed every time. It may not be easy, but you will succeed.
Right.
So I think those are the five.
I love that. I read a quote the other day. If you're just in it for the money, go get a job.
Yes.
Is because seriously, it's all about connecting with those people, connecting with the right
Yes.
people. Because I don't know about you as a coach, I don't want to take somebody's money and then they're not going to do their work anyways, and then they give you a bad
Yeah.
review because you know I, they didn't do anything. They blame you, of course, whatever. But people don't see it that way, right? And so we work too hard at what
Yes.
we do for one bad review to completely take out what we do, right? And so
Yes.
leading from service is definitely key. Um, so I'm glad you said that because people who just lead with you know here, hand me $5,000 and
Right.
we'll talk tomorrow,
Right.
type thing.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I love that you said that. So if you I love what you're doing, absolutely love what you're doing, and love what you're doing for the accounting world, and love that we're connected because like I said, a lot of people need help with that. So if you are somebody who is in the finance world and definitely wants to transform the gap, then get a hold of Sherrika on her website here, or is there anywhere else that you'd like them to contact you?
I can be reached on LinkedIn as well, and you can just search under my name, Sherrika Sanders, Sherrika Sanders, and connect with me there as well. But for anyone who goes to the site, I also offer a free consultation. If you're just, let me see what this lady's about. Go in and book some time and let's have a conversation. And if ultimately you decide to work with me, then there is a code overcomer, where you will receive 10% off. Yes,
Ooh, thank you.
10% off any services. And so that's overcomer. Using that and the way my services are set up, they can be paid upfront or on a plan. Um, but yes, please. But definitely book a discovery call. Let's just have a chat, see how we connect, because I would love to help in any way that I can. anyone that I can, because I have some stories. So um, I'm sure I can definitely help.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Sherrika. Like I said, I love what you're doing. I love whom you serve. It's definitely needed. And like I said, guys, if you are somebody who is in the accounting field and you want to get ahead further in life, and bust through those myths that you have, uh, go to Sherrika's website and definitely click on that and get your 10% discount with using the discount code Overcomer. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving that to our listeners. And I just want to give one last shout out to the last sponsor of today's show, the Kimbra. If you're needing more time, a community with giving you rituals that give you more time, money, and resources, definitely connect with the Kimbra today. Tell them Dorothy sent you. It's a great way to meet people and to also if you think you don't have enough time, money, or resources, you definitely get need to connect with that group as well. So thank you everybody for tuning in today. Thank you to all of our listeners, and thank you to all of you that are going to be watching this on the replay or listening to us on Spotify. Go check us out on our YouTube channel, Unstoppable Overcomers. Subscribe and click on the bell icon so that you get to see the next time that we go live. And check us out on our website, unstoppableovercomers.com. We got a lot out there for you, a lot of great content. And thanks for being here, and be unstoppable in all that you do. And remember, same time, same channel next week. Bye for now.
Thank you.